Hello, everyone. Welcome to GA's Tea Time. We discuss all things General Hospital. If you haven't already, please hit the bell notification. The like and subscribe really helps the channel. And I want to send a special thank you for everybody that has already subscribed. So, guys, let's get our teacups, let's get our snacks, and let's get ready to discuss our favorite characters. General Hospital Daily Recap, Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. Guys, we had a bunch of characters in this episode, some Josh, some Nathan, some Felicia. So let's see what our favorite bunch of characters are up to. Carly found Sitwell safe. So she's over there talking about maybe the combination is Marco's birthday. But then she picked up her phone and she was trying to dial, I guess, probably Valentin. Maybe he had some suggestions. But then Ava walked in, like she just opened the door and walked in, which I thought was really kind of strange. But anyway, Ava's like, "What are you doing here?" And then Carly was like, she didn't really answer her, but Ava was like, "Oh, I know what you're here for, to get at Lucas." So Carly was like, "No, that's not what I'm here for." And then Sidwell walked in, and Sidwell kind of basically told Ava, "Before you come here, you should call." Which is, as much as Sidwell is bonky, I think he's 100% right. She shouldn't just be showing up at his house. But she told him some excuse about some artwork came in, and she told Pascal to put it in his office because that's where she thinks it should go. And Sibel was like, "Oh yeah, wonderful idea, whatever." But Carly's here because we're talking about this dinner. So Ava was like, "Oh, Carly's not gonna want me at the dinner," but Carly was like, "I don't care if you come," you know. But the more they talk about this dinner, the more I want to see it. I want to see Jack, Brennan, Ava, all these people sitting at the table, chatting up with Sylvia. I think that would be highly entertaining. But at the end of it, Ava said she's coming to the dinner. But what's really funny is that Sylvia said he gonna invite Lucy and Josh. Why he inviting Lucy? I don't even understand that. This is where I go. Ava don't make no sense. She need to get away from Sylvia. I don't know why she's trying to get this man. It don't make sense. Let Lucy have him. But anyway, that was it. And they are still planning this dinner. Carly says she was out, and that was the end of that. Josh was at the hospital. I guess she probably was looking for Lucas, but Marco was there. So Josh said, "Oh, I wanted to catch up with you anyway because I wanted to apologize for my mother." And her not accepting your relationship. Marco filled her in and said, "No, things have changed. Carly's on board with our relationship." Josh was a little taken aback, right? Because I guess Carly hasn't told her that she changed her mind. But Josh was like, "Okay, she's happy to hear about that, and if anything, let her know." Charlotte came up with some excuse that she had to get to Carly's to give something to Donna, and she asked her mother to drop her off. This is very concerning. She knows her father's a fugitive. She know he's upstairs. Why would you bring your mother there? But whatever. Um, so they're talking, and Charlotte just started telling Lulu how she doesn't like this being grounded. I mean, no kid likes to be grounded, but Charlotte made some valid points. Like this child has been raised differently. Lulu hasn't had as much time in her life as Valentin has, and she's used to being independent. Like she's done things that on adult level. So it's going to be really hard for Lulu to treat her as the teenager that she is because she doesn't understand this at all. She's like she had freedom with her father and she doesn't understand why her mother's doing this. And it's kind of weird too because Lulu came from a family of like adventurous people. Like Luke and Laura was always doing something. Charlotte brought up a point about Lucky traveling somewhere by himself, and Lulu was just like, "Well, this is different. You're my child," which is understandable because that's her mother and she wants to make sure she's safe. But I think she needs to handle Charlotte a little differently. I think grounding her is not going to be the way to kind of get at her. But as things went on, Josh came in. Josh was just like, "Oh, what are you guys doing here?" And they told her about the Donna thing, and then Charlotte excused herself because she wants to get upstairs and talk to her father. So Lulu was informing Josh what was going on between her and Charlotte as far as why Charlotte is so upset with her. And it's funny though when Charlotte and Lulu were talking about the storm, when she, why she's mad at Charlotte about getting, because she was out there looking for her in the storm. She has a flashback of Nathan, and I'm just like, come on now, is this the time for that? But anyway, Charlotte just wanted to get upstairs to see her dad. Charlotte finally gets upstairs to see Valentine, and Valentine got on her because he was like, "This is dangerous. You shouldn't be doing it," which is the truth. Charlotte's gonna get this man hurt, but anyway, Charlotte was just telling her, when are you gonna be able to get me? Because I'm tired of being treated like a child from my mother. And Valentine did tell her, you need to calm down. Your mother's smart lady, whatever. He was like, don't underestimate your mother. So, Charlotte looked at that, but she was kind of like, what a man, Valentine said he had a plan, and he was like, as soon as the plan is over, they can leave. So Charlotte was telling him to hurry up because she can't take this being treated like this any longer. And then that was it for that. Josh heard some noise downstairs, took a gun out, came upstairs in her mom's house. And this is another thing. You got a gun out in your mother's house, okay? She goes upstairs to the attic, finds Valentine. I was a little hurt by this because I was like, I like the dynamic between Carly and Valentine and like nobody knowing that he's there. So now Josh knows he's there, and I'm like, it takes some of the fun out of it, but whatever. I do think that Valentine might tell Josh that her mother knows everything. So I guess this is probably how it's going to come out that Carly knows. I'm not sure if they're going to say they taken down Brennan, but we'll see what happens. I'm Portia was telling Isaiah that Curtis gave her the house. So Isaiah was happy for her, but he did voice his concern, and he was asking Portia, "Do you think that Curtis is going to use the house to be more involved than he should be?" And Portia was like kind of reassuring him, like, "No, I understand your concern, but no, he's gonna be. He seemed like he gave it to me out of good faith, and it's gonna be okay because this is her home, and she's not gonna let Curtis be all up in it like he probably wants to be." But Isaiah just kind of, didn't say much more about that. But on Isaiah's hand, I think he's right. I think Curtis is gonna use that house, but also it gotta be weird to be like Portia offered for him to stay there when if it's too late for him to drive home to the cabin and stuff like that. Here's my thing. This is another man's house. All that furniture and paintings and everything that's in there, Curtis and Portia picked out, right? So he's gonna be staying up in there. It's odd. I hope she at least changes the bed. Okay, change that at least. But I'm just like, on Isaiah's hand, I would feel kind of weird sleeping in that house, but I don't know. I feel like Portia should have sold the house and bought something else. Guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Guys, Jordan asked Curtis to move in with her. Did you guys see this hesitation? Because I saw a hesitation. I saw it. It didn't look like Curtis was like all gun ho to be moving in there, which is kind of understandable because honestly, they've been together for what, 3 minutes? I know they've been married before, but I'm like, this is a reconnection. I think they've been together for what? I don't know, a month, maybe less than that. But anyway, I felt like Curtis hesitated. Um, but he gave an excuse of, I don't want to come off as, aggressive and stuff like that. I've been told I could be, aggressive with things. I want you to feel like there's no rush, stuff like that. That was Curtis' excuse for like not saying yes right away. And then Jordan was like, no, I really want you to move in here. So Curtis agreed he's going to move in. He did ask her about her test for her kidneys, and she said she's almost finished with her test. She got one more test to take, which we all know is this pregnancy test, which I'm hoping that she's not pregnant. But anyway, she did tell Curtis once she finds out the test results that she will let him know. She did not let him know it was a pregnancy test. She just said it was a test. So we'll see what happens once she gets her test results back. Brooklyn and Chase are still waiting to get word on Delilah, and Nathan came. Felicia was still there asking them questions. Nathan came up. I don't know if Felicia called Nathan or Chase or he just came. I'm not sure. But Nathan arrived and he started asking questions about Delilah, and he was asking them all these questions that I'm like, how would they know this? They met her for like 3 seconds, but he's like, her name, where she lives at, this, family members, so. Brooklyn and Chase didn't have much information. They did tell Nathan where they found her. So Nathan said he was going to go back to the scene and see if he could find out any information, if he could find out anything. It was a long shot, but he was going to go. Britt, Lucas, and Liz are in there working on Delilah. And Britt is like, look, the baby's in distress and stuff like that. We got to get this baby out of her for this emergency C-section. Then she realized that Britt realized that Delilah was worse off than she thought. She was like, page the baby doctor down here because I'm not gonna be able to get her upstairs to the ER. So they're working on Delilah in this room, and they were able to get the baby out. The baby's oxygen level was really low, but the baby doctor was there, and he took the baby up to the NICU, and they actually monitoring the baby now. And then Britt is like really going at it, really working on Delilah because Delilah is crashing. So they did the paddles and all that kind of stuff, but Britt wasn't able to save Delilah. So I don't know. I'm like, Britt was really shooken up about this. She left, and Lucas asked her if she was okay. She was like, "No, I got to go check on other patients." Liz and Lucas looked at each other, and Lucas was like, "Well, everybody handles losing patients differently." Um, because Britt came off a little cold with that. And the other thing, just a side note, I don't know. I feel like this baby situation is not going to be just wrapped up. I know some people's like, oh, chasing him is going to adopt his baby. Maybe that might happen. But I feel like this lady might have some connection to somebody in town. I think that baby might belong to somebody, or like we know Nathan's been gone for 7 years. Maybe he don't remember Delilah. Maybe she is part of the Dawn of Day cult. I don't know, but I feel like we're gonna find out that something is up with this baby more than what we know. And so what do you guys think down in the comment section? I know some people are saying that tattoo she had on her arm might be Dawn a Day and stuff like that. I don't I just feel like it's not going to be wrapped up in a nice neat bow that, Brooklyn and Chase adopts this child and they go happily on their way. Liz finds Britt in the locker room, and Britt is really crying. She's bawling her eyes out. And Liz was like, "Are you okay?" She's checking in on her. But Liz brought up a good point. She was like, "This is the first patient that you lost since you've been back being a doctor." And Britt, I think she was looking at her crying, like her crying or getting upset as weakness. But Liz was like, "No, it shows that you care about your patients." And she kind of basically telling her it's going to be okay. Brooklyn and Chase was still waiting when they finally saw Liz and Lucas come out, and Liz and Lucas finally gave them an update that they lost Delilah. Brooklyn was broken up. I felt so bad for her. She started crying. She was like, "I told her I was going to leave her by herself. I told her she was going to be okay." And then Lucas was like, he was going upstairs to check on the baby, that the baby did make it. And then Brooklyn asked Liz, can she go sit with Delilah for a little bit because because she did tell Delilah that she was going to be by herself. While they were in there, Brooklyn was, crying and stuff, and she was telling Delilah, Delilah passed away, but she's speaking to Delilah's body, and she's just kind of like, don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure that I find your baby's home. She gets back to her family. So, um, she's determined to find out who Delilah is and who the baby belongs to. But that's why I said I think this rabbit hole is going to go a little deeper than what we think, and we'll see what happens with this. Nathan came back to the hospital. I guess he wanted to give an update that he found Delilah's bag, and then he saw Lulu. So him and Lulu started talking, and Lulu was saying she was being a chicken. She has to go talk to Maxie and tell her that she has feelings for Nathan, so they can get their relationship started. And then Nathan was kind of like, well, maybe Maxie won't have a problem with it. She did choose Spinelli, and then they was like, well, this is Maxie we talking about, and both of them kind of agreed that it's probably gonna be a little bit more difficult than they think. But Nathan was like, he can do it. He can go talk to Maxie. But Lulu was like, no, it's her, and I agree with her. It's her that has to talk to Maxie. It can't be Nathan. But Nathan leans in and kisses Lulu or hugs her or something like that. I can't really make out what would happen, actually see what happened, but I think it was a kiss. And Felicia walks up. I was like, oh brother. Um, Felicia just looking like, what is this? And this is the problem that I have. This is why I said they don't need to sneak around. They definitely don't need to be kissing in public until she talks to Maxie. Because it starts looking funky. It's like you need to go and have a discussion with your friend, be a woman, tell her what's going on, how you feel, so that you and this man can start your relationship. Don't sneak. But anyway, we're gonna see what happens tomorrow. I'm sure Felicia's gonna go off on both of them. So, what did you guys think about this episode? What was your favorite part? I think not my favorite part, but Brooklyn's acting in this part was really, she got me. She only had a few lines when she was really broken up about Delilah's passing. What was your least favorite? I think you guys know by now what my least favorite is. Anything with that Jordan and pregnancy thing, but I want to hear what you guys um favorite part and least favorite part is down in the comment section. Don't let my biasness sway you. And guys, don't forget, hit the bell notification and kindly hit the like and subscribe because it really helps the channel. And thank you guys again for joining us at GHT time. And I will see you next time. Bye.